I do want to just thank my donors. I ran a birthday fundraiser on Facebook, and many of you donated to it. And it was a little over $800 that I got. It was like $925, and then they take their cut. But the things that I bought with that money are the supplies for the boat captains and the runners, and then our volunteers who helped us in the past, the ones that have proven themselves already. Our runners get these magnets for their car, and the boat captains get these flags for their boats. To when they're out searching for turtles, you can put this flag on, and it tells everybody what you're about. Next year, I hope to have more for all of you who have just joined. There are stickers that look like this on the back table. There's also Texas Sea Grant provided some really cool stickers with all the different sea turtles on it back there. And there's some literature back there too for you to take. Don't take the little plastic turtles, those are mine. Okay. And I just want to mention too that we have applied for some money from the Matagorda Bay Mitigation Trust. That is the Diane Wilson's money that she won via the lawsuit from Formosa and the Nurdles and all that, and we've applied for a grant from them, so maybe we will have a little more funding for things. Okay, without further ado, I guess I have to do this one. Okay, so it's always good to tell people what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. That's kind of the presentation format I learned. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the who, what, where, when, why, and how of our Mid-Coast Sea Turtle Rescue, because all of you have had the turtle training that the Dr. Shaver and Martha provided, right? But a lot of that has to do with how they do it at Padre Island. So I'm going to go over now what we do here. If you have a question, just raise your hand. I don't mind interruption. Just let me know. Okay, so who are we? And Alan, why don't you make your way up here? I am Bridget Berger, and I am the program coordinator. I serve as dispatcher, and I am also a Texas Master Naturalist. Alan, my husband, is the chairman of San Antonio Bay Partnership, and he's one of our boat captains who goes out and he takes people out to rescue the turtles. I'm usually at home dispatching on the phone, and that'll be clear after this meeting what I'm doing. And he's also a Texas Master Naturalist. So he's going to talk about, let me just put in a plug for Master Naturalist. How many of you here are a Master Naturalist? Yeah. So it is a program that is co-sponsored by Texas Parks and Wildlife and Texas A&M AgriLife. They co-sponsor it. There's 50 chapters across the state, and we are a core of volunteers. We are specifically trained in our ecosystems in our region. So it's a really fantastic training. This is our region, our Mid-Coast region. So if you live in any of these counties, this would be your chapter. And if you want more information about it, let me know later, okay? Or catch one of these other people who are here, part of our chapter. Now, without further ado, do you want to come over here so the people on Zoom can see you? Is there a microphone over there? No, but if the people on Zoom will see you.
Oh, okay. Do that.
Never, yeah.
If you don't know who we are, there's a little brochure at the back table, but we're a nonprofit. Our mission is the protection of both the Espiritu Santo and the San Antonio Bay system. Collectively, we call it the San Antonio Bay Guadalupe Estuary, but it's the whole thing. It's from Pascavallo to the refuge. Our activities are several. We support estuary education, primarily through our partnership with the Texas Floating Classroom. you have kids that live in this area, they go out every year. Sixth graders go out on the boat. It's a 90-minute boat tour. They pull a small trawl, and the plankton seine, and they show the kids with hands-on stuff. It's very effective. They also take stuff into the classroom when they don't. We're not the only funder for them. We're a major funder for their activities in this area. We also have several cleanup activities. Some of you helped during the shorelines cleanup in September. We picked up, I don't know, 2 tons worth of trash and 2,500 plastic water bottles. So it's a big deal, and we're going to do it again next September. Coming up in February is our annual abandoned crab trap removal. Parks and Wildlife closes the bay to crabbing for 10 days. We have 10 days to get all the derelict traps out. We typically can pick up last year we had about 1,000 of them. So it's a big effort, and it's very weather dependent. So I'm always looking for boats and volunteers for that as well. We have a small shell project. We're trying to restore a small reef on Espiritu Santo Bay at Bill Day Reef, where it used to be American oyster catchers that used it. It's gotten kind of washed away. We're trying to dump some shell on that spot to make it amenable to them again. We chase freshwater inflows into the bay. Our current activities, we're trying to design a project called Aquifer Storage and Recovery that would take water out of the river during wet times, inject it, and then pump it back out during a drought to put it into the bay system. It's a very expensive project. We're chasing grant funds to do that, usually through the federal government to do that as well. And then the turtle rescue program. This is a relatively new program for us. As you say, we're chasing funds to do that. So thank y'all for y'all's contributions to her birthday, and it'll be well received. I may mention one other thing. We've initiated a new program to ask people to become members to help us fund. We're primarily a volunteer-driven organization, and for us to expand, we really need some help. And so if you are interested, pick up one of these, become a member, make a contribution to help fund our some additional staff and activities for us. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so that's who we are. Who are you? Well, I'll tell you, there's a variety of people here, but all of you are very concerned, caring citizens. That we have some residents who live here full time. We have lots of people who have, second houses, or they keep their boats here. We have fishing guides. We have several organizations too. Some of our newest members are Gulf Coast Bird Observatory, Rebecca and Taylor's Online. And we have the Matagorda Bay Foundation, Alyssa and Bill Balboa, if you know them. We had some folks from the Texas GLO this afternoon in the training. They actually have 4 or 5 boats, so I'm really excited, and a trailer. So our most intimate member, however, is Texas Parks and Wildlife. Chris, you want to come up here? You will learn in our process, the turtles that come into Port O'Connor will go to Chris's staff over on the 16th Street, the coastal fisheries. So you want to say a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, Chris Steffen, for those that haven't seen me around town, I presented a presentation at the trash cleanup event in September. Very excited to also learn more about this process tonight in this program. I've been with the agency for almost 4 years now. I was in Galveston Bay before this. We were obviously impacted by Winter Storm Uri as well up there. Myself, my wife, all the staff up there, we were very, very busy during that time, as I'm sure y'all were as well. So yeah, I'm very excited to sort of jump in. I've been told how extensive the network that y'all have built here is, and just happy to be a part of it. So.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And if you haven't seen his little one back in the back. Okay, so the reason we're here is because during Winter Storm Uri, there's all these dead turtles in our bays. 557 between Parks and Wildlife and the documentation I did. And there was no rescue system. So we closed the gap. We started a rescue system, and now we have covered Matagorda Bay, Espiritu Santo Bay, and San Antonio Bay. So, and we couldn't do it without you. I can't do it without you. I can make all the phone calls I want, but you guys are, you make it happen. So thank you. So this is our territory. And as mentioned, Matagorda Bay, but East Matagorda Bay has a little different process. We had a big call with all the stakeholders along the coast and decided, what happens where. And East Matagorda Bay is a little bit on the border there. So during nesting turtle patrol, they have nesting people looking for nests. And that's run out of San Bernard Refuge. Now, our stranded turtle system comes to me. And the cold stun turtles, Leslie Hartman, who is the ecosystem leader for Matagorda Bay, where Chris is the ecosystem leader here. She's been running that for years. She's just been taking her staff out to East Matagorda Bay and rescuing those cold stun turtles. Now, there's capacities for who can receive these turtles, because there can be hundreds. And if you remembered on Dr. Shaver's slide where the rehab facilities are, there's nothing here. That's a future goal, by the way. If anybody has a couple $2 billion they want to lend me, I'll start it. But we have no rehab. So those turtles in East Matagorda Bay will be sent to Galveston. But I have recruited a handful of boat captains, including Rebecca, and Alyssa with the Matagorda Bay Foundation, and some runners in that area. So that process is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a little separate call a little later on when we get our ducks in a row about it. But those turtles will go up to Galveston, whereas our turtles, everything south of that, they go down to the Amos Rehabilitation Keep or ARC in Port Aransas. So that's why that's in gray, because we do work there, but it's not the full banana. So what do? Search and rescue, transport to the rehab. We don't do any warming. We don't do any rehab. We do not have a veterinarian. If you know a veterinarian that specializes in reptiles, especially sea turtles, let me know, because we'd love to start one here. That's our limiting factor. Now, how do we do this? We do it under the auspices of a national organization called NOAA. NOAA is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Anyway, they have a division called the Sea Turtle Stranding and Salvage Network. And this is who across the whole United States, both coasts and the Gulf, who regulate sea turtle handling, because they're an endangered species, right? So anytime a turtle becomes stranded, we have to follow their guidelines. Every state has a coordinator, and Dr. Donna Shaver is our coordinator, and you see her there with me in the picture. So we have to follow her guidelines. Now, we're here to learn about our process. What happens? We get a cold stunning event predicted. Let me tell you how that happens. That happens because Dr. Philip Tussaud, he's down in Corpus Christi, Texas A&M, and he has these models. He has monitors out in some of the bay systems, and he can project when that temperature in the water temperature is going to go down to that threshold. 46.4 degrees for more than 24 hours is what the turtles, when they become stunned. Dr. Tussaud, we have him online here on Zoom. I think they will be able to hear you, but they can't see you live. So if you want to say something.
No worries. Thanks to everyone's volunteering, and we hope for a warm winter, but if it gets cold, we'll be we'll do our best to tell you when it's gonna happen and help you out. And also big thank you to Bridget and Alan, because we're gonna have more sensors thanks to them this winter in Espiritu Santo Bay.
And my next slide is about that. So Dr. Tussaud and a small group are coming on early December, and we're going to put monitors out in Espiritu Santo Bay and down near San Antonio Bay there. This is preliminary location, so don't take this at face value. We got to get out there and see if the conditions are right and whatnot. But please pray for good weather on December 2nd so that we can go out there and do this. Okay, so I'm very excited. Now these sensors are not like real-time stuff. It is something that is collected, and then they analyze it and they put it into these models. And I asked Dr. Tussaud if he might come back maybe after our busy season next spring and maybe give us a program about all of that, because I think it's fascinating. I assume you do too. But so what I do keep my eyeball on is some real-time data around here. And is anybody familiar with this website? I'm sorry, it's kind of obstructed up there, but the tides and currents on NOAA. So if you've never seen this, this is the buoy that's down at the end of the little jetty. And you can come here to see what the current levels are. But if you go down here to plot data, you see this trend. You see that you have water level, air temperature, and you can see what that water temperature is. So this is what I keep my eyeball on, not only here in the Port O'Connor, but there's one in Seadrift, there's one at the refuge, and there's one in Port Lavaca. So this is our real-time data where when Dr. Tussaud sends out a message saying, because like he gives us about a week notice, usually like last Christmas when we had that freeze, it was a week. And so we keep our eyeballs on, and then well, you'll see that in my process in a minute, but you know, that's how we predict when to send you all out. Okay. We were at cold stunning event. There's a cold stunning event, right? And what we do then is I notify you. I will text you. And if you don't text, then you need to let me know, because I will contact you, because I need everybody on board. I need as many people as possible. Now, when I text you, please reply back. I'm available or I'm not available. And you don't have to worry about bothering everybody, because there's an app for that. There's this new app that I have called Send Hype. It sends a message out to a group, but only I get your response. So if you want to say, oh, I'm out of the country in Bolivia, whatever, it's only coming to me. Okay, so just let me know if you're available or not. I keep a spreadsheet, who I can call, then who's going to go where. When you say you're available, you remember this diagram. You need to tell me where you want to go search, because I don't want 10 boats showing up in the same place, right? So if you say this and somebody's already going there, then I'm going to say, can you like scoot down a couple miles, or, you know, go here or there. Now, this is where we found all the dead turtles during Winter Storm Uri 2021. And the size of the dots represent how many turtles we found there. So you can see where they congregated. Now, that was one weathering event. We had a freeze in early 2022, and these are all our turtles we found. The blue is deads, the greens are lives, but you can see again that it's that north-facing shoreline, the back of Matagorda Island, and also that one that's up there. Honey, what island is that? Dewberry? Okay. So
There's a question for you on that map.
Yeah.
The area that has those turtles rescued,
yeah,
that 20 day shoreline, is that because we didn't cover it?
I don't know.
Probably here.
I haven't been very good about keeping track of how much we've covered. I haven't asked my boat captains okay, where did you search? I just give general areas. And then it's like, okay, this is open. I got another boat. Let's go there. But I haven't really kept track. But yes, I mean, we didn't have very many boats go out in this event. So the more boats, the better we watch, right? Okay. Now, here's Winter Storm Elliott. That was last December. And you can see again, north facing shorelines, right? But look at this congregation up there. Yeah, lots of Pringle. But look at the congregation of them up near Grass Island and Bayucas and all of that, right? In Bill Day Reed, right? Here's why. Not only those north winds blow it, but this is Texas Parks and Wildlife Seagrass Viewer. Now the data's a little old, but it doesn't change that much from year to year. But look at where the seagrass beds are. And what do green sea turtles eat? They eat grass. They're vegetarians. So they're grazing out there on those pastures. So that's another priority. That teaches us that's another priority to go look where there's seagrass beds, not only the north facing shorelines. Yeah, for eating seagrass. So when we started, we said, okay, these are our high priority areas in the red, but now, I mean, we tweak this as we learn, as we go along. This is brand new. So, that's why it's important for you to tell me where you'd like to go, because the more ground we can cover, the better. So we all watch the conditions, right? When it's safe to go out, then you tell me. I'm not going to be your mother and say you can't go out or anything like that. You make that determination. I've got some lovely young men from the Lavaca Navidad River Authority, and they actually went out on the Friday of that December freeze when it was still 20 miles an hour, and they found 4 turtles. So, but I'm not making that judgment for you. You have to tell me when you're going out. Okay. So when you decide to go out, you tell me you're going out and you tell me where you're going. Okay. What do you do when you get out there? Well, you're going to look for floating turtles, because when they become stunned, they're cold-blooded animals. They can't move their limbs and they're just floating to the surface. Okay. And here's, hopefully this will work. Oh, that doesn't look very good. But this is a young man last Christmas, and he found this cold stunned turtle out there. So some of them are floating still out there. And this was on the Monday after Christmas. So they don't all happen at once. There's some delay, and I have numbers to show you. Okay. So you're also, hopefully, if you can, walk the shorelines. So the process usually means the boat captain stays with the boat and your crew go out and walk the shorelines if you can. I know not everybody's able. Fine, we do what we do. But here's what some of them look like. From far off from that boat and you're moving, do you spot the turtle? There he is. Okay. Here's another one. Looks like a lump of something. So when in doubt, go check it out. If you think there's a piece of driftwood out there, you better go check it out.
You have to say, have binoculars. That's what really helped us find. If we see a lump like that, we really could tell what it was. We take binoculars.
Binoculars.
Identify it.
Great. Anybody have anything to add? Okay. Okay. Now, how do you carry them? Just a brief review. I know you all took the training, but do not carry it by the flippers or you'll break their arms. Or their flipper. Carry them with their heads down. Now, I'm going to show you, well, I don't know if I should show you at the end of our stats because they're not very happy stats. But I'm really trying to pay attention this year of how we handle these turtles and keep them alive after we found them. I can't say that we had a problem, but I want to do my darndest to make sure we handle them correctly. tilt their heads down. I had some people sending me pictures, and I do want you to send me your pictures with your family and you're out there with the turtles. But do not hold the turtle up because they're like us. They breathe air. If they have water in their throat, it's gonna go down into their lungs. So please don't do that. Hold them down like this and always hold them by the shell, somehow, okay? And boogie boards. I have a bunch of boogie boards at the back. You are welcome to take a boogie board if you want to use that on your boat because they do come in handy, especially for larger turtles. So take what you want. I also have these containers. And so we have a whole bunch of these that were donated to us. You wouldn't believe what comes in them. Our volunteer, Haven Young, he is, I think his title is perfusionist, but he does, heart-lung bypass. He runs that machine. That's what the equipment comes in. They open it up, they throw them away. It's like, oh, that was the perfect size. It got little handles on them. And so anybody who wants some, there's a stack here and a stack out in our trunk, in the back of our truck. So again, head down, face the turtle toward the back of your boat, because when you run, the front is going to lift, right? And so it'll be a natural tilt. You can put a towel underneath their rear ends, but what you don't want to do is kink their neck. I know with us, I'm a nurse, when you kink your neck back, we open your airway, but that's not really the case. The turtles kind of need to be parallel. You don't want them dropping down, you don't want them going back, you want them kind of parallel to their body. So just be aware of that. Now, flagging the turtle. Okay, pop quiz. What's the STSSN number consist of? How do you make that up? Right, okay. I hear all kinds of great responses. So the first part is the 4-digit year, 2-digit month, 2-digit day. Your 3 initials. If you don't have a middle initial, put an X. And then the number of turtle that day. And I don't know why I'm just in the habit of putting 3 digits, but I hope never to find over 100. So you could use 2 digits if you want. It is likely that you find over 10. So don't use just 1 digit. At least use 2 or 3. Okay. See 2, 3, right? Okay. So important. We have packets for the boat captains, and the papers are in there. What's important is make sure that the person putting their initials on the flagging is the same person that's on the paper. I think you'll see later how our data kind of got messed up because they said, oh, there wasn't a turtle with that name. And I'm like, oh, I got it right here. I got a picture of it. So make sure that those initials match the person on the form. Okay. And here's a tip. Write the number on the flagging before you put it on the turtle and put it toward the end of the flagging. So that, for the end of the flagging, so that you can drape that over and take that picture. And that's the next. Oh, okay. The form. We only need you to fill out these 3 sections. Okay. I'll get to the picture in a minute. Your name, the name of the person who's going to take responsibility on your boat. It could be the boat captain, it could be your crew, whoever. Just one person though, they need to match. Then the stranding date is, that shows us the matching between the turtle, the picture you're going to send me, and that paper. Now, stranding location, of course it's Texas. Here's a little ditty about, here. Oh, I was going to tell you about, maybe I got mixed up. Sorry. GPS photo. Yes. So you want to get the full head, preferably from above. Get the whole turtle in, the head to the tail with that number. And keep your hand in the picture. It gives me perspective. I can't tell how big they are. Now you can do this in your boat or you can do it on the shoreline. Did everybody get my email about Solocator? Yeah, okay. Solocator is this app that puts the GPS right on the picture. You see in this photo here, that's what I'm using. I'm using Solocator. The only thing you need to know about it is that if you go into the settings and you look for coordinate format, you change it to this decimal, what's it called? Digital decimal or something like that. But it has to have the 2 digits with a decimal and 6 behind it. Okay. That way, nobody has to translate it. If you give me a GPS that's in minutes and seconds, somebody has to translate that and it always doesn't translate well. Sometimes I still have one data point that's out in the middle of the Gulf and it's like, well, I don't know what happened there. Okay. Okay, stranding location, Texas. Here's a little ditty about counties that you may or may not know. Calhoun County includes all of Matagorda Island. Now, Matagorda Peninsula is a lot of times called the island, especially people who have houses out there or go out there all the time. They say, oh, I'm going out to the island. No, it's called Matagorda Peninsula on maps and such, and that's how we will refer to it. So the entire peninsula from San Bernard down to Pascagoula is Matagorda County. So when you fill out that paper, it's Matagorda County. Then for those folks, we've got a couple folks who go out of Goose Island, Lamar Peninsula, they come up into Mesquite and Ayers Bay there, and they found some turtles for us there. And note where San Jose Island and that north-facing shoreline there is actually Aransas County. Okay, all right. Now, FP, you're going to want to keep those FP's turtles separate. And I had a question earlier. Who asked me that? Oh, Kimberly asked me that.
So when you're out there trying to find these turtles and you're going to grab one because you're rescuing multiple, trying to prevent the spread of FP since it's
Right.
spread by
Right.
contact, how do you prevent that?
How do you keep them? Yeah. So good question. You're out there walking the shoreline. You find a turtle. It's got FP, parent. Well, you got to do the best you can. Take the turtle back to your boat. Keep it separate, whether that's on the right-hand side of your boat and the rest of the left, or maybe it's in the back. You could put a tarp between them. Don't cover the turtle though. They want to make sure they are breathing, get air. You do the best you can. But if you have to move, wash your hands, maybe carry hand sanitizer, and maybe that's another thing we can add to our kits is some hand sanitizer. But then when you need to touch that turtle again, put the gloves on to touch the turtle. Like if you're offloading it, make it clear that this is FP. Now, Alan came up with a great way of flagging them. We're going to put 2 flags. So you put the STSSN number on one flipper, put a second flag. I don't have enough yellow tape to give everybody yellow tape, but if a turtle has 2 flags, then we know it has FP just by looking at it, right? So when you get it to the dock and all along its little journey down to the rehab, people will know it's got FP. Okay. You can write FP on it if you want to, but any turtle with 2 flags. So you wear your gloves when you handle the FP, and you take them off to handle the non-FP. Good question, thank you. So then what are you gonna do? You're gonna let me know you found a turtle. Okay, so you find your first turtle, text me, call me, whatever. Sometimes you don't have coverage, do it as quickly as you can, because you'll see in a few minutes, how many phone calls and text messages I need to get the ball rolling, and I need to notify people. So then tell me your plan. Well, it's the end of the day, I'm coming in. Or, no, I'm way out here by Vanderveer Island, I'm gonna stay out and, right. So we don't bring in every single turtle. You can stay out there. Now, one of the things we talked about, now that we kind of have a good number of boats. So I'm hoping to implement a shuttle system, especially with our airboats. Our airboats can go way up in the shallow, right? So some of the bay boats can't do that. So it makes sense. I send a bay boat out when the airboat gets full, I send a bay boat out, you transfer the turtles, they bring them back in, you keep searching in your airboat. So it's all very circumstantial, but that's part of the plan. But if you're coming in, then you do text me. I want you to text me that you have a turtle, and you can text me that photo, that GPS photo at that time as well. And I want to see that form as well. And because of our data, we had problems with our data, and you'll see at the end, I'll show you. Some things got lost and misconstrued, and I'd like to be as accurate as possible. So text me the photo, text me the form. And for each turtle, you don't have to do it right away, but I do want all of them. Now, if you find a dead turtle, if he's clearly dead, what does clearly dead mean? It doesn't mean predated, because we had some predated ones that were still alive. They're bleeding and everything. It means there's absolutely no eye response. You poke their little eye and they don't do anything. They're decomposing. You can smell them, they're bloated, or they have rigor mortis. If you cannot move those flippers or that head, then that's clearly dead. So what do? You have to do the complete form. And you measure it with your measuring tape that's in your kit. And it's, you measure from here, notch to tip, notch to notch, and the width. For those of you online, I don't know if you can see that, but with your measuring tape. And you do it in centimeters. These measuring tapes, they're the best I could find. And on, the reverse side, there's centimeters. So try not to use the inches, because then that means somebody's got to convert it. So do it in centimeters. You want to photograph it. Again, take one GPS. Then use your regular camera to take a series of photos. Okay, there's your form. You put it down here where the measuring tape is, and not where you won't be using calipers. And then after you get done with that, and after you get done with your photographs, you will mark it with your spray paint. You can put it up in the mangroves or the cordgrass or behind the shell ridge, hide it. You don't necessarily have to bury it. If you have a shovel or whatever, you can, but just so another volunteer doesn't come along and see it and redocument it or waste their time. So take one GPS photo from the top, leave your hand in the photo. You don't have to put the flagging on it, because we don't need them flagged. We just need the picture with the GPS and the form. So full body, hand in the photo. Then they want a series of photographs. In situ means where is it in its surrounding? Okay, so you can see here, you can see this is on the Gulf Beach. And and then the dorsal view, which is from atop, the ventral view. So when you turn him over, he may be muddy. You may want to wash him off. Take a bucket or dip him in the water to get to get him cleaned. Right side of the head, left side of the head, any abnormalities. Now, most of these cold stuns aren't going to have this, but like they could have FP, or they could have some lesions, they could be injured, that sort of thing. So if you have abnormalities, then take pictures of them. More pictures are better. Don't worry about skimping on the pictures. Then just text me the GPS photo and you can email me if you want, after you get back to the dock. I don't need them while you're out there, but I will need all the photos and the form. And I put in the deads into the database. That doesn't go to the ARC. I do that. Okay. So then when you're ready to quit, you text me and give me your estimated time of arrival back at the dock. Okay. That's when I set in motion my calls to the runner. So if you see the pink region there, if you're in the Port O'Connor area, we're going to take them to Chris and his staff at Texas Parks and Wildlife. It's at the end of 16th Street. There's Fisherman's Cut. Oh, wait a minute. Right. Fisherman's Cut, right? It's right around the corner. Okay, it's there. If you launched out of Seadrift or out of Charlie's, if you don't want to come to Parks and Wildlife, fine. We will send a runner to you. In that case, these turtles won't be processed. Chris's staff processes them, meaning they fill out the rest of the form. Okay. These will go straight to ARC. And it's extremely important that you fill that top part out. You send me that picture so that I know I have a record of that. Because when they get down to the ARC, they get transported out. The ARC can only handle about 35 turtles. They process them and then they send them to other places like the Texas State Aquarium, which can handle hundreds. So I really would like to keep track of our numbers. Okay, so you'll have to make sure you text me that. Seadrift, there's 2 marinas, and I'm doing this because some of you are runners. When the time comes, if you don't know where some of these boat places are, ramps are, I'll let you know. But I mean, most of our people are locals, you know, and they know where these are. So we will have people meet you and take the turtles from there. And then we've got our friends out of Goose Island. So these guys, Keep Aransas County Beautiful, their volunteers come and they pick these up directly. Our volunteers don't go all the way to Goose Island. That's the way it's worked in the past. Don't forget to text me your GPS photo and the form for each turtle. Okay, when you get to Parks and Wildlife, this is what it looks like. This is Alan and Denise and Rusty coming in, okay? So you come up to the boat dock, and this is Sue. Sue's online, and her friend bringing in some turtles, and and this is the Christensens. They had a boatload last year with their sons. So we offload the turtles, and I did, I had some, I've made this stretcher, just like an old army stretcher, out of some old canvas. Darned if I can't find it for this meeting to show you, but I'm hoping to make a couple more of those and get them to the dock there, because going up those little stairs was not fun, especially with the bigger turtles. So I'm hoping to make that offloading process a little easier. But we do have to transport them. Parks and Wildlife either will come around with their truck, or we take them in truck and go around to their workshop into the driveway around the corner. It's just a little ways away. The forms go with the turtle. Okay, don't forget to give Parks and Wildlife or your runner the forms. They go with the turtle. So you do need, I know your hands are cold out there and all that. That's why we're minimizing how much you really have to do out there. So this is Coastal Fisheries. This is in their office up there and some of their staff, and they will finish that documentation, and then we will dispatch our runners. We will put turtles. Now this isn't ideal, but when you have, 30, 50, 80 turtles to transport, you put them in the back of a car. And what we've been doing with the FP is send them in a separate car, because we can send multiple FPs in one car. So these are all healthy turtles. And And of course, no heat in the cars, and an enclosed vehicle. We don't really want to put them in the back of a pickup unless it has a cover. That wind shear will chill them more. Here again, some of our volunteers. And this trailer was Parks and Wildlife that I don't know, it came from Dickinson or someplace. And we got to use that. And Damon took them all the way down to Port Aransas then. So here's Denise. I put these boxes in the back of my car just to put that was an FP turtle. So we put them in a kiddie pool to keep them separated while we transported. So we get inventive. Now, we generally take them down to Tivoli, to the Dairy Queen in Tivoli. It's just 40 minutes. And here's Reese with the turtles down there. And we have this lovely volunteer, Steve Gregory, who has this great trailer now from donation to Keep Aransas County Beautiful. And he can take over 100 turtles. He's built these shelves and drawers in there. We put them in boxes. We keep the FPs separate. So that's how we transport them down to the Amos Rehabilitation Keep. If you do have to go all the way down there, we hope you don't, but if the runners, I can give you directions on how to get there and where to take them. And yes, you take them to a building called Birds. Go figure. So here's the process in a nutshell. But there's all those blue squares are me texting and calling people, the runners. I got to notify Keep Aransas County Beautiful. I've got to tell the ARC we've got turtles. And then when you give me your ETA, I've got to dispatch the runner. So keep me informed. That's why communication is important. So to put all this together in a nutshell, I want to give you this illustration. I promised to get you out of here by 7. So that Winter Storm Uri, we got a text message from Dr. Tussaud on December 16th saying that our friends at the National Weather Service is saying there's a big cold front coming. So that was a week ahead of time. So of course, what did we do? We watched the weather, we watched the boys, and here's what happened. So the wind, you can see here, laser pointer. Okay. So cool. On the 22nd, that cold front blew in, and the wind, this is 40-mile-an-hour winds, right? So what did the air temperature do? It dropped. And what did the water temperature do? Now there's a little delay, right? It drops. And you can see how it responded. So this is the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. And it wasn't until the 27th that water temperature went above the threshold. So that water temperature was down for a while. And what's also interesting is you can see the little bumps. Every time the tide comes in through those passes from the Gulf, warm, and you can see the little bump up in that water temperature, which is kind of cool, I think. I'm learning all this. So here's what happened day by day. On the 23rd, my friends from LNRA, they went out and they found 4 turtles. On Saturday, we had 6 boats go out, but these boats aren't used to this cold weather. So 2 of them had mechanical problems. And, but the 4 that were out there rescued 8 turtles. And look where they are. They're not yet blown to those shorelines. So they're just maybe becoming stunned or something, or maybe we didn't get out that far. Like I said, I didn't keep really close track of that, but this is where we found them. And it could have been because we didn't get down there. Now, Sunday, Christmas Day, we had 4 boats out and we rescued 35 turtles. And you can now see we did have coverage down here. We had our friend out of Goose Island that found 2. We had one up, Cody and Carlin, up there in Indianola and Powderhorn there. They found 1. Then Monday, we found 55. We had these two families who come down here with their boys. You saw a video of one of them. They went out, I deputized them that morning. They came to my house, and I can deputize people at the last minute, telling them all these important things. And they went out and they found a bunch of turtles too, and they had a blast. So we found 6 boats out, 55 turtles, total 102. Now, remember Tuesday, that's when the temperature started coming back up, but we were still finding turtles out there. 3 boats out, 11 turtles. Now, technically, they gave us word, oh, cold front's over, but guess what? We're still finding some turtles out there. We didn't have any boats going out to search and rescue. We did have people out there fishing that found one dead, found one dead. We had a game warden call us from Indianola. They found one. And then we had in Carlos Bay, we had 1 live turtle there too. Then over the weekend, we continued to find dead turtles. We found a total of 7 dead turtles, or they called us about them and we recorded them. Now, subsequently though, throughout, all the way into February, we got one call. There was like, what, half a dozen dead turtles. Where was that? South Pass or someplace like that? And Alan went out and documented all of those. So we are still finding those dead turtles I believe, right, as a result of the cold front. But that's how it transpires. Okay. So that's our process. That's what we do for cold stunning. But that's not the end of the story. In the non-cold front days, we do search and rescue. So when you dial 866-TURTLE-5 and it says for Matagorda Bay, Espiritu Santo Bay, and San Antonio Bay, press 3. You get me. You get my cell phone. And so we have had fishermen call us, especially up on East Matagorda Bay, because you can drive there and lots of people fish there. So we've had people call us and we've rescued turtles and we document deaths. I didn't get a chance to put all those numbers together, but it was, it's several a month. Okay. So now what else can you do? Just a few slides left. Remove fishing line. Okay. That's a source of, entanglement for sea turtles, and pick up and prevent litter. Okay. In the meantime, also you can skip the plastic. Bring your own water bottles. Stop using the plastic bags from the grocery store. Take your cloth bags. And you can report turtle sightings any time of year. Anytime you see a turtle, there's an app called iSeaTurtle. All you do is you see a sea turtle while you're fishing, you just go on this app, you say, I saw a sea turtle, and put the little sea turtle icon there, keeps it everything private, don't even have to put your name in, nothing. Just puts it into this database that they, okay? And that's it. Thank you. Any questions? All right.
One question, for those that went out the past year, we had a problem with some of the real big turtles that were out in the bay, in the water. We couldn't get out of the boat to get them, to lift them up. It was really difficult for me and my wife to get them into the boat. We actually had to take a line and wrap it around. I'm just wondering if somebody had a technique, to lift these big turtles and put them in your boat.
No, I am hoping to make some of those slings that I can give out to you, if that would help.
Yeah.
As a nurse, the way we move patients, and I think this would work for turtles, especially big turtles. If you take that, so you have these 2 bars and this canvas in between, right?
Yeah.
So if you roll it up, and then one of you try to tip the turtle, you stuff that under, and then you roll them the other way and you pull it out. That's the way you get it under them. Yeah. And then of course, one person on the back, one person on the front. There are fancy slings and stuff that I've seen online, but we don't have the money to buy those. Yeah, I'll try to make some of those slings. I made one and I just couldn't find it to bring it to show you, but I can make some more. Any other questions, guys?
Where are people usually finding the turtles? Are they more floating or are they on the beach? Are they, I mean, as far as like spotting, looking for them?
Yeah.
Where
Let me go back to that
are
slide.
they living?
Yeah, you're gonna look, you're gonna look. So don't like, you can zoom out to your area, but be looking because they can be floating. If you see this map of our last Christmas, you can see some over in Espiritu Santo Bay out there by, that's like Bilde Reef and stuff. They had to be in the middle of the water, right? There's no,
I'm just saying,
Shoreline there.
Are people finding them more floating or are they finding them beached?
these were all on shorelines. All those little dots are a turtle. Yeah, so the majority are on shorelines, but now we've experienced that there's some out there floating. In fact, see that dot on the intercoastal? A fisherman was, local fisherman was coming in and found this turtle and called us. And he was floating in the intercoastal.
This is because it's tied for low, you can't get your boat up close, but walk and walk is about ours, so when you go off, it's a lot better.
Okay.
A lot better outcome, it's just. difficult conditions.
That's what we ran into, this huge one, it's over 100 pounds.
Wow.
And we had a boatload full and we were struggling trying to
You know, I
get that
think
one in.
one of the strategies we could take, so they're talking about how to get turtles back in and where we found it. You have a huge turtle and there's two of you and you need help, let me know.
Yeah.
There, I may know where the next boat is. I can say, hey, can you go help them? You know, that sort of thing. So let me know.
Yeah.
Charles, did you have a question?
Just a point of information, are there any stats on turtle survival rate once picked up?
Well, if you remember Dr. Shaver's presentation, she showed some numbers that were back from 2000, so 2006 to 15. And her rehab success rate was 92%. No, not for us. Well, we had a data problem. This was an unusual event, well, we hope, this past Christmas. And a lot of our turtles, like 58% of our turtles, well, eight of them, so that it translates to about 50 and 8. 8 of them, they had no record of. And some of it I know was our fault because I traced it back because we didn't put flags on them. But 50 of them, 50 of the 112 or whatever it was, they went to the Texas State Aquarium. The Texas State Aquarium gets their turtles from Padre Island National Seashore and from, other entities. And unfortunately, in this event, they didn't get all their turtles documented. They didn't even pit tag all of them before releasing them. You know, their priority is for the health of the turtle, right? So they warm them, and then when it was time to get them in the water, they put them in the water without doing all that processing. So unfortunately, I can't give you solid numbers.
Yeah.
I can, unfortunately, I have, I do know, in fact, back on that back table, that is our year-end report of all the turtles we saved or transported. It was like 160 turtles. And it's line by line. All those STSSN numbers are on there. You'll see a column that says outcome or whatever. And so when it's blank, I don't know. And there's some numbers on the very last page that tell you how many were rehabbed and released. It's very low because half of our turtles didn't get counted. So that's just the nature of our business. Is it's not a perfect science. We're there to save the turtle instead of like do the paperwork, right?
So does the aquarium have an account on intake and an account on release? No.
I got the information they had.
Okay.
When you have hundreds of turtles coming in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're taking care of those turtles. And believe me, as they're warming up, they're starting to poop, they're starting to move, you know, and you got those turtles that were injured. We had some that were predated. So those turtles actually need care besides just the warming. So it's chaos, and they're functioning off of, yes, some staff, but it's a lot of volunteers too. So they do the best they can. Thank you. 5 minutes. Anybody else questions? Yes, Stacy.
What are they even predated by?
Oh, turtles? Yeah, I'm sorry, birds. Yeah, I don't, you know, it's hard to tell, but I think we just had like bird peckings. Yeah, the eyes, we had one with a hole in its neck. I don't know if a turtle or if a bird is strong enough to go through that skin. Coyotes, raccoons possibly. And this book is really good, by the way, if anybody wants to know more about sea turtles, it's called Our Sea Turtles, A Practical Guide for the Atlantic and Gulf. And it's by Witherington. It's 2015, but it's really comprehensive. Okay, guys, that's it.